Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things, and today is Paper Pumpkin Day. We are staying here at the Great Outdoors for another 2 weeks till the end of the month. Well, less than 2 weeks now. And then we're off to ping pong around Florida. We're going to head down to Fiesta Key in August and then head up to North Carolina for some fun. I'm going to meet up with my upline, Libby. So, today's Paper Pumpkin, we've got Sending Good Thoughts. I kind of don't know anything about this kit because I like to be distracted and not see anything about it. So I will get going on this as soon as I get home. Alright, I'm home. This month's kit is called Sending Good Thoughts. Our spot is Bermuda Bay. And our stamp set is an ocean theme with a ship, seahorse, diploma, seaweed, starfish, and the sentiments are sending good thoughts, thinking of you, can't wait to see you, wishing you all the best. We have a flyer. Celebration is going on right now. That's where you buy products and every $50 or $100 increment of those products, pre-shipping, pre-tax, you get to choose a free item. And there are items at both those points, and there's no limits to how many of these you can get. And there is even a host free stamp set that you can earn if you have like a party or if you yourself buy a minimum of $300. Then we have for next month's kit that we get a free gift, and it will be 2 instead of 1 ink spot, and it'll be sunflower themed. I am actually filming in a little different spot today. I chose a corner that has light coming in both in front of me and to the left of me. So we will see how this lighting works. And then my tripod, which used to hang from the ceiling, now sits on the floor, so we do have to worry about more movement. So I put some heavy items, in fact our batteries that we use to recharge our fans and tools, went in a bag and is on the base of this tripod to try to keep it from wobbling every time I move. So we'll see if these changes are improvements. Alright, we've got some linen trim, some double-sided dots, a bunch of dimensionals. I'm seeing A2 size card bits. So far I like the colors I am seeing. Let's see what the inside... Oh, this is a rarity. We have colored envelopes with nothing on the inside, so I don't get the insides to play with. And I see a set of textured, you can see on the back here that the stripes, the darker stripes, are raised, and there are 3 of those, and then 3 blue. This looks like Pacific Point with clouds and ocean. Again, here's the embossing pattern. 3 of those, and 3 fresh freesia. And here is the back showing the pattern in sort of an ombre distressed. Then we have 3 fresh freesia bases, some bottle die cuts and banner and a label. And these there's 3 of these. 3 kind of a textury suede looking basic gray, and then the Bermuda Bay, 3 of them with some banners and circles. Oh, and we've got seagulls, coral, starfish, and seahorse, 3 sheets of these. So still lots of materials to play with. I will not be doing the as prescribed. I see each one actually gets a bottle. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I do like these. These, if somebody wanted to make these and just have the 9 cards as is, they would be very nice. I really like the looks of these. But I, of course, like to do my alternatives. So my goal today is to come up with at least 20 mix and match alternatives. I will go away and start concocting all of the ideas. I will come back with any added supplies or any tips or hints that I have for the provided supplies. So stay tuned. All right, I have a couple of supplies adjustments to make. The first one, well, first things first, I grabbed the basic gray ink, and I will show you what I am using it for. When I was taking apart the die cuts, I kept the seahorse for a stencil. And the bird as a stencil. I also do have the starfish, but I don't think I will be using that as a stencil. I have my sanding sponge out that I use every month to remove all of the little hanging chad pieces by sanding the edges. And the most exciting thing I found was you can make 3 of each style. I will probably only complete 1 because it's a little bit of work. So if you really like this negative of the coral, here's what the positive looks like. And then there's the red coral. You can carefully cut out. I cut a little bit with my regular snips. Didn't like that so well, so I had just done a demo on the Fiskars. This is actually up on my Amazon shop, and it is for the Winter is Coming Wednesday group. I probably won't do one for this particular paper pumpkin, or I could add for paper pumpkin July as well. So this really helped to cut these little puffy ends. Then when I finished with that, I took and sanded any of the sharp ones down, just like this, to just round them off and soften the edges a little bit. Then the last step is to take a sponge. You can use a dauber, a finger dauber. Stampin' Up sells those. I'm taking a rhinestone off of this sponge. There's a rhinestone that got attached to this sponge back, but I will show you. I have everything packed up because we're moving tomorrow, doing a dry run. This is the longest, sorry, and I see I'm shaking the thing, even with the weight I put the base. So we haven't moved for 3 months, which is the longest that we have stayed in one place. We typically ping pong around a variety of places, even if we're kind of staying in one area. We only stay for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and 21 days is the max we can stay at one park at Thousand Trails as our membership, so we don't have to pay extra for that. We've only one time, right when COVID hit, we paid for 1 month. Actually, it was before COVID hit. We were working on a house project at home, a rehab. I think it was our last one we did, and we paid for the month. Then like 3 months later, we had ping-ponged back and forth our normal 3-week through the winter. We got snowed on, and we're really glad that we got to stay there for the month. And then 3 months later, everything went on lockdown because of COVID, and they let us stay in that park for free for a month while things were getting figured out. Okay, so then the final step, there's a few white bits you can see showing, and I am just sponging lightly around the edges with the basic gray. The reason why I grabbed the other one, this is a Ranger product, and this particular sponge fits on the back of every single one of my spots. So every spot has its own sponge. And then for the daubers, my tactic is I just have color. I think I have 20 daubers, and I have, you know, the grays, the greens, light green, dark green, light red, dark red. So I don't actually have an individual dauber for every single color. So I'm just finishing the edges. I don't want them to be white because I will show you what I am thinking. So I've only added one supply so far. I've cut all of the card bases in half. So you have 9 card bases. That gives you 18, 3 of each color: Fresh Freesia, Bermuda Bay, and Basic Gray. Alright, so this looks pretty good. And then there are 2 vellums this year that we have. We've got Layering Designs vellums that come in a variety of black lettering and white lettering. This is the one I am using for my layout on the Basic Gray, with this and a bottle that I'm going to stamp a boat onto the bottle in the Basic Gray. But here are the other designs for you to see what all of the options are. This is white lettering, regular newsprint, the map in white, newsprint again. And I want to find map in white. I'm trying to find this scripty text in white. I am sure it's in here, and I am just not able to find it. Nope, I actually do not see it. Let me look and see if I have white. The script. I'm looking on the website. For each of 3 designs. So you should have the script in white and black. And I am using the black. The map, I think, would be kind of neat too. So I've got the bottles all squared away with the rough edges gone. Then there's a second vellum that is a botanical layers, I believe is what it's called. Let me find it. This might be retired. I do not see. Oh yes, it is. Lovely Layers vellum. So here are the patterns that you get with the Lovely Layers vellum, and the one that I was thinking of using if I did not go with the script is this guy. All right. And then I've got the boat ready. Didn't put a cushion underneath it, so I hope it does okay. Yep. Okay, so there's the boat, and this is one of my layouts I am playing with, and I will add a sentiment I might offset so that this character shows through. And then you can also work with the red coral. Here is what the red coral looks like. And you could do the positive or the negative of it. Looks great. All right, and I will come back later as I continue on my journey of creating different pieces to layer up with this kit. All right, I'm working on some other fun things. I've decided I love these bottles so much that I am going to try making my own. So I just took a mechanical pencil and I took the smallest one. This is a piece of scrap white. I outlined it. You could, if you have a cutter, you could use your brother cutter to cut these out, and you could make all three sizes. There's this very large one, this tiny bit different shape one, and then the small one. And I thought, I really want to see if I can cut, and the only thing I think you have to do is some rough distressing with ink, and then I will show you how to do the top. So I'm going to do that, and I will finish that in a moment. I've also got some cuts to go ahead and double up what you have, and I did horizontal on the ocean scene, cut right down the middle. I've done diagonal on the Bermuda Bay layers and vertical on the fresh freesia, and I want to try something. So I've got my sanding block. I love sanding white core paper, so I just want to see how well this texture sands. So here you go. Instant revealing of that texture. Just like that. So keep that in mind as more options. I've made a cute bottle here as a layering piece and went ahead and I just did a knot and put it around the neck of the bottle and did a thinking of you and just attached it with a little one of the double-sided dots. I then did, so the colors that I see are good additions is Fresh Freesia, Pacific Point, and then Basic Gray. And Basic Gray, I went ahead and did the ship out of, as well as the message in the bottle. So I'm gonna go away really quick. I'm going to just fussy cut this by hand. I don't want to get the brother out, it's all packed away. But you could make like a whole sheet of bottles and have the brother cut them out. It would be so easy. And then if you have these marks, you just flip it over to the back side of the cardstock to do whatever distressing. So I'll come back and do that with you in just a moment. Alright, I am back. I have fussy cut my bottle. It's not perfect, but for demonstration purposes, I think it will be fine. And I want to make the cap, and I probably could have just sponged it, but, and this is kind of dark, but there's a nice cap. And then I will take the finger dauber and we're gonna just pretend to be artistic here and add some texture to this bottle to make it similar to the other bottles. And you could do, if you wanted the two-sided, you could work on that. But just for the basic bottle-y look I am after, I think that looks pretty bottle-like, and I used this small one to make my own little mimic of it. Let me know what you think, if that works for you, if you have even a better way to make a bottle. I mean, you could come in with the markers and add more of the shape to it, but for just a quick replica to continue the bottle theme, I think that that demonstrates that it is easily doable. I am going to see if I need any more materials, but I think I have got enough together to start working on some layouts. I'm going to go ahead and do some photography, and then I will come back and do the mix and match. But I'll come back for the final mix and matching, and then of course at the very end there will be the photography with all sorts of layouts for you to choose from and be inspired by. Hey, I'm working on this layout, and I want to remind you that you can always add gel pen effects. This is a very bright color, so you can add little dots, make him have a little smiley face. Just dress him up. Oh, I guess I'm off the camera here. Anyhow, when I saw this sitting here and he's just a little bright red of popping bright goodness, I thought it would be fun to add him. You could even add little textures to him. Just whatever you would want to do. So I wanted to bring that up. Then also along that same vein, you'll see that with the starfish, I added the stamp. It's a texture stamp, like a little mini net, but I'm using it just as texture. And then same thing with the starfish, to even add more interest to it. Just pop on top of, like on one side of these Bermuda Bay dots that you've added, you can just add some white as well. So lots of ways to get more interest. So that is what the starfish now looks like. So I have started my photography. I'm even going to say that here on this red, it would look really cool to add your own little touch. To give it that more homemade look. Because there's lots of areas here that you can add just little bits of fun texture. So white gel pen goes a long ways. So back to photography. I even took another fun thing you can do with the thread is make it just wrap it. It comes curly, so you could just keep it curly and let it fall where it may. That's what I was doing on this particular picture that I took, was just kind of letting it nest around and be interesting, but very random, not forced. Alright, I'll be back in a bit with some mix and matching. Alright, I'm ready to do some mixing and matching. We're having bad weather, as we do about every afternoon, so it got really dark. So my light is on. We'll see how it goes. I've got a bunch of photography taken, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to capture all of the different scenes because this particular set has like 4 different color tones. So you've got Bermuda Bay and all of the scenes that go along with Bermuda Bay. You've got this poppy parade that goes really well with certain colors. Then you've got the fresh freesia, and then you've got Pacific Point and basic gray. So I've tried to capture photography, mixing and matching all of these, and I am focusing on the vellums right now. Is what I was going through, is the different vellums and what you can do with it. and I really like, this is a botanical layers, but with the coral, I notice I'm using my Thinking of You handmade bottle. I think it looks very ocean-esque. So I wanted to talk about some different sequin options before I get off on doing these. I have used today for all of the photography an abundance of the everything fancy sequins, and I've focused on the greens and the blues, and in some cases I've been very specific, like this scene I wanted these iridescent sequins to be, I don't know what that sound is, we seem to be having wind, lots of wind. Oops, and I bumped the thing. So I might explain here, I'm seeing all of the trees around here moving a lot, and thunder and lightning, but no rain yet. So anyhow, I used the iridescent sequins very specifically in this case as bubbles. I don't know if you know this, but seahorses will wrap their tails around things, so I wrapped this guy's tail, and I did use, this one has some of my white, so does the coral from the gel pen, but then this guy isn't, so because they all look different. So this is a very nice scene and just a bunch of fun pieces to put together. So this is one option. The other ways I've been using the sequins is just by, if I didn't want to use these as bubbles, I could instead decide that I wanted the bottle to be like on the sandy bottom, and to just hint that there's sandy on the bottom, I could just throw some sequins. I'm thinking the green would go a little bit better, and I would just put a cluster of them on either side. And then I have to painstakingly get my mono glue out. I put a tiny drop of glue on the back of each one and then set it in place. I use a tweezer or the take your pick tool, just depending on whatever is nearest at the time. So I've been doing a lot of making, you know, the hint of sandy bottoms. These sequins, you can look at the photography on the website, the Stampin' Up website, and see all of the different little bits that you get. And you do get all three giant pucks. You get a green puck, a blue puck full, triple thick actually, and what I'm not using today are these pink ones. They're just too light. If you really wanted to be motivated, you could take these pink ones and use Blend's alcohol markers and color them red. And you could use those with these red pieces if you wanted to get a little more red. I have this specific point. It actually isn't embossed, but let's pretend it wasn't embossed. And I grabbed, oh, here's what I was looking for. I was looking for the bow. And we grabbed this. And maybe we liked this ball because it's got blue. And I wanted to pop it up. For my pop-ups, I just use little pieces of popped up material. And I'll tuck it under. Oh, there was a flash of lightning. Oh, and you guys might have heard that. It is very full of lightning here. I'm not thinking that I want to go with that color, so I'll probably just use these pieces with the bow. Clustered, and then I could do I literally was just adding them, just letting them fall where they wanted to, and just I really like kind of the movement of the ocean and the glimmery different lighting that you get underwater. Like that. And then I've got to have a couple of sequins actually on the wishing you well. So that I think is awfully nice and done. If you didn't want it quite so feminine, you could do Pacific Point on the sentiment, even leaving the ring of fresh freesia. I believe you could easily get away with that being a masculine card if you just remove the sparkles. And you know, I actually think these sparkles, like I said, it just adds to the feeling of it being underwater, and I would have no problem giving them to a man just the way it is. Alright, and next I want to keep this and I am looking for my boat because I think you could just leave this vellum. It could be on solid or this piece. It'd be a waste, I think, to use this piece. So you probably do want to have it be a solid Pacific Point. We have these really cute seagulls that you just toss them on there. This is also a perfect masculine card. Liking that a lot on that blue. You've already got the rope. You don't need any sequins or anything, but you could add them if you wanted. Alright, so that completes my final color that I was doing for photography, and now I will share with you guys some of the other colors I was already working on for the earlier photography. Right. So we've got seahorses, seagulls, the message in a bottle, boat in the bottle, and then a sentiment on the bottle, and the thinking of you. And I want to pull out, I told you about the stencil, so I want to share the stenciling that I did. I stenciled on my one side of my white, and I also stenciled the envelopes, and you could add little bubbles. I didn't want to spend the time to really doll it up, but you could definitely go all out with the stenciling. You could also stencil the birds. I did not stencil the birds, but those would stencil very easily and nicely. And here is what I used to stencil these little guys. And my first design with them was nesting them in the fresh freesia colors. Let me get a background so you see the mat. The full of, oh, that is too small. I will find the right piece. Here's the correct piece. So I'm pretty much going to just do like one or two samples in the different color tones, and then you can refer back to the showcase at the end, which will have everything I could think of at the time. Alright, so we've got wishing you well, and in this case I do like the sea or starfish, I should say. And for this design I just want to offset the coral down into the corner so that my family of seahorses can be flitting about. And then you could again either do specific bubbles or just an array of a whole bunch of these sequins just wherever they may fall. And if you want some variety, that you can do some hand placement. So I think that gives you the idea of that one. I have a pearl put in here somewhere. So there's another idea that I was working on, and then I sanded the blue like I had done with the Fresh Freesia half piece, which is hiding under here. So I've got these sanded bits. I did not sand the clouds. They are sitting here looking puffy and cute. So perhaps I will put all this stuff over here, flip this over, and then I will grab my sanding block and we can sand these clouds together. Because I really can't see them very well, and I did some photography without having sanded them. But I really think that, given that it's already distressed along the top here, I like those clouds way better. I will probably like to go back to the blue. Nope, this blue is too small, so I just can't do that. I will use the gray. There we go. That gives us a nice border. So there is photography already done without the clouds sanded, but I wanted you to see it sanded. And then I love how this looks. I want to pop the bottle up. And this is an awesome masculine card, and I think this would also make a really good birthday card. Yep, I like those clouds. I'm glad I did that, and you guys got to see it. Okay, so now you can also do the birds. I want to show you guys what these birds look like. There's a seagull. He's a little bit odd, I will say. I don't like him as well as I like the flying seagulls really well. I'm just looking around here for a sentiment. You could stamp a sentiment right here. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick stamping. And I think I'm going to use the blue. You could have stamped that in the basic gray also, and it would have looked very cool. So this is like something totally different than in my earlier photography. I didn't do anything like that, and I think that looks very cute. You could wrap with some fibers. You could add perhaps some little sequins like dirt, sand. You do get gold and silver in these, so it is a mix. Alright, Alright, sorry about that. Hub actually came in, said that the lightning was pretty awesome. We have this cool bridge over a pond on the trail, and he drove out there and thought it was pretty darn cool. So here is yet a totally different idea, and I knew this would start happening as I was filming, so I think that that about covers it. I've shown you the red, I've shown you the freesia, the blue. We'll do one Bermuda Bay before I let you guys go with all of these great ideas. The showcase is going to have all sorts of good stuff. All right, I found it. All right, so I stamped on the banner. You might have forgotten, we get this light, it's like pool party, brushed pool party on white. I stamped it with the little starfish, wishing you all the best. And then in this case, when I was doing the sample, I did some fun, I don't think I ever did this one though, where I've got the red accents. So let's do that. And you can pop up the banner. This guy's already popped up. I actually popped up some of the items. So this is what one of the pool party designs, and of course this is still different this time. And we can just throw on some sand, the little tiny sequins. And then we've got a little bow. Now this one piece, I cut it in a diagonal and I didn't sand it, but you might consider sanding it. I don't find that these textures that it has are very visible here. It looks pretty flat. So if you wanted to have more texture, you might want to go ahead and experiment with some sanding. Here's what these, you get 3 of these. So you can then take this design and completely alter it by rotating it. And I promise this will be the last one. There's just a lot to show in this kit, and it is, yes, one of the awesome kits. Love the bottles, love all the different color schemes that you can play with. You can do lots of masculine and feminine cards, so I just wanted to quickly show you that you can rotate it this direction. But why I was rotating it was to show you how nice this looks. And you can create whatever scene you want. You've got this really long horizontal banner, and you could decide you just want to throw some birds on and have it just be kind of an artistic thing. You could throw on a starfish down here. You know, it doesn't have to be really fancy. Just depends again on how much you want to use up the pieces, or if you want to conserve the pieces. And we're making more sand, pretty sand. And again, I just think this, you've got 18 pieces of, so 6 gray, 6 fresh freesia, 6 of the Bermuda Bay. Then you have 3 each of the embossed pieces that you can sand or not sand. Cut them up in different directions. Pop up all of the different elements. We've got this guy, I don't really like him at all, but you could put him in the corner instead of the starfish. And just all sorts of fun scenes that you can make. I don't know if you feel very adventurous, but you could definitely outline the birds and make more birds if you wanted to be artistic. You've got your white gel pen, you've got the 3 different sizes of bottles, and you can make your own bottle. So tons to do with this kit. That could definitely easily be extended into probably 30 plus cards before I would get bored by 30 cards, for sure. But there are so many different colors and different pieces and different scenes that you can make that it would take 30 before I would definitely be, okay, done, ready to move on to the next one. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them here on the video. I will have all of the extra supplies, which I didn't use very many, mostly the inks and the vellum, and that was it. I will have those supplies over on the blog. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.